Police officer, come! Drop the weapon! You join us here at Kingsholm Stadium, the home of Gloucester Rugby. We've been invited by Gloucestershire Police Dog Unit to come and witness one of their police dogs be licensed. We're really excited to see what happens.
This is Milo. Milo is a Springer and is a proactive cash, firearms and drug search dog. So what James is going to do is going to let him off, and he's going to go off and search this large area. And you can let him go anytime you want, James.
Yeah, he's a coiled spring ready to go.
And so off he goes.
And that's it.
So these dogs are trained to search anywhere and everywhere. So they don't search people, those are the passive drugs dogs. This is a proactive search dog, so they will search, like I said, anywhere and everywhere. Predominantly their search areas will be people's houses when we sort of execute warrants or go in and do a search. But they'll search vehicles. They search a lot of vehicles where vehicles are stopped, and they might suspect there might be drugs in there.
Right.
So you can see he's doing a lot of the searching on his own, so James isn't really getting involved at the moment.
I was going to say, how far away can you be when this is happening?
He could even range all the way down to the bottom of the building,
right,
searching. But you can see he's almost sort of self-tasking himself.
It's insane. I am absolutely loving this. This is so exciting.
So what we mean by the tasking, the self-tasking, is that you can see he's checking a lot of things by himself.
Right.
If there's certain areas that you think he hasn't searched properly, that's when James could get involved and actually sort of direct the dog to search a specific area.
Okay. So
if we go in here and have a look, right, you might want to go in quick. Right, if you want to have a look at this.
He's knocked it down already.
Okay.
So you can see, so he's freezing, he's indicating.
Wedge between.
Yeah.
Whoa!
You don't know what you're doing,
The cash was actually, it was hidden between the gap and the two boxes.
Right.
So he's knocked it and knocked it out.
And so his reward for that now is.
Save the ball.
That is it. That is
Yeah.
that is all it. That is it. That is just playing with that tennis ball.
In his mind, he's looking for the ball.
Right. Okay.
That's what ultimately he gets.
Yeah.
So it's real cash. So it's the paper and the ink that
Yeah.
they're trained to find.
Yeah.
And that's why they can find euros and sterling,
Yeah.
because they're printed by the same company.
But can't
So
find
They won't be able
dollars.
to find dollars, no. So it's predominantly the ink that is the overriding smell that they're searching for. So when we did change to the plastic sort of money, so from the paper, it was a case of, are they going to find it? And we put it out and they found it straight away. So
And what about
outstanding.
what about the actual amounts of cash? How small could you go down to?
We could put £5 note.
Really?
These dogs, these
can
dogs when they're on a
smell
live search.
Insane.
So you can't carry your wallet with you.
Yeah, well, a lot of the time on a live search in a vehicle, they'll indicate on a wallet, and when you open it up, there might just be £5 in there.
Yeah.
But that £5 still smells of the ink.
Right.
So
Wow. That's insane.
Still again.
yeah, they're really good to us here. We will train on the stands. We could train in the bar areas,
Right.
But also in the corporate sort of hospitality boxes. We can train all along there.
Right.
Anywhere you can hide drugs, cash, guns, we can put it out. The dogs will search.
Right.
So as many different environments that we can
Yeah.
get the dogs to search.
But when the dogs retire,
Yeah.
obviously you've got that slight fear of the expenses involved with it, which I guess is where the NFRSA comes into it, right? So did that play a big role in how you feel about the future for sort of your dogs and their sort of after duty care?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
absolutely. You imagine, these dogs are with you for their whole life. My police dog I've had from 8 weeks old. So when that dog retires at 8 or 9, the thought of giving it up It just doesn't. I don't even think about that. I just want to keep the dog. But obviously, especially with the GP dogs, the dogs that are trained to bite, it's very, very difficult to get insurance for those dogs because of the work that they've done. And if you are lucky enough to get an insurance policy, then you are going to be talking £100 probably a month for that policy. So so that's where, you know, the NFRSA or other local charities come into their own. You know, you've got that peace of mind that if there is that emergency and you have to take your dogs to the vets, that there is going to be some sort of support for you.
Thank you for breaking from training and coming up, and I'm sure you're itching to go back into the cold and join your teammates.
Wait to get back out there.
Joe, thank you for sticking around.
So would you prefer a police dog biting you or taking a hit from a
To be fair, they're not too dissimilar. Like you were saying there, wasn't it? Sometimes you'd rather a player hit you, but like when you see, I think it's more looking at the dog. When you look at it head on like that, its eyes looking at you as well. It looked pretty angry, but then 30 seconds later you're able to play a ball with him. It's good. It's amazing how to see how they can just switch like that. It still really amazes me how they can do the two.
Yeah, because Joe, you took a bite, didn't you, when we were on our bike ride?
Yeah.
It was a very brave bite.
It was. Well, I was exceptionally brave that day.
Yeah,
one metre on a lead, was it?
Yeah, it was 1 metre, and I think it was a puppy. I think it was a 4-week-old. But
in training.
Yeah, in training. And it was more of a leg, and I think it was a spaniel as well.
It's a very aggressive puppy.
Yeah. It was really,
no, actually, no, he did, to be fair.
Fearsome.
He actually got damage from it, because when the police dogs bite and they grip onto your leg.
Yeah,
and so
I did actually. I sustained a graze.
You sustained a graze, yes.
A nasty graze.
Weeks, to get better.
But I don't want it all to be about me.
Scarred for life.
But yeah, it's amazing how you can see the dogs, and they genuinely look scary, but they're not aggressive, and the way that they're trained is with rewards and enjoyment, and then they love what they do. They're going out there. They're like biting and wrestling you to the floor, and then literally seconds later they're up and they're playing with you, and then you can put your hands around their face, grab toys, and you're in no threat, no danger. But as soon as it's ready to,
as soon as he sees that bite,
and he's ready to go.
Switched.
That bite jacket was
as soon as the
thing is, for them that's a toy, and it's not work. I mean, they don't go, oh, I'm going to bite somebody to be aggressive. They just go, that's like my favourite thing in the world to do. And I also know that if I bite that well, I'm going to get my reward, which is a ball.
And you
so
can
it's
see
all
that,
positive
with the
training.
ball. As soon as he brought the ball out as well, it was like the best thing ever for him.
Yeah,
which is
I know.
great.
When you were playing here, were you aware that this type of training goes on in the stadium?
Every so often, you see the cars in the car park, and more often than not, you'd ask one of the academy boys what they've done and why is there 3 police cars here. But it turns out it turns out they were actually training, which is, I think it's great. Like what a place to train. There's enough hiding spaces around here for everything, and the boys actually, more often than not, rugby players love dogs, don't they? I'd say it's a pretty well cultured thing of rugby players having dogs. So you see now there's 2 lads down there obsessed with the dog. You bring them into here, it's great. Everyone loves to see it, and like Gloucester's a community club. We want to help the community, and that includes the police and what they're doing.
This is what we call like a burn. This is where we allow the dog to go and search themselves. And as I said, if there was a specific area that we wanted the dog to check, then James would get involved and help the dog out. So certain things like things that are up high, we can pick the dogs up and actually pick them up and put their noses to things that are high, so that television or those plaques on the wall.
Interested in that table, when we were setting up the hides earlier, that's where we put all the drugs.
Okay.
So there is actually some residual scent on top of that table, and that's why he's showing a bit of interest.
Right.
It shows how strong that smell is and how sensitive their nose are.
You might even, I don't know whether it'll work, Trick, just maybe pick him up and put him on that shelf and see if he'll search the actual photos.
So excited. Drugs in there.
Yeah.
It is.
So the biggest, some of the biggest problems. So get ready.
Yeah.
And then just to prove that there is something there, it's a gun.
And what's the scent that they're trained on that?
It's the black powder, so it's the accelerant that when it's fired, the gun will be coated.
Right.
And and that's what they're trained to find, because obviously some guns are made completely out of plastic, so like
it's sort of 3D printed
guns, yeah.
So regardless of what they're made of, it's the actual residual gunpowder.
Yeah,
that's
okay. Right.
When they first run out, they do go a little bit crazy. We call it having a burn, where they're just looking for any scent, and then in the middle, there's not a lot going on. So he's literally gone and checked everywhere that there could be a hide. And like when you saw him up with the drinks fountain, there's a lot going on there with vents and stuff, and he's gone and stuck his nose in all of them. And yeah, a lot of it's, once they know the game, a lot of it comes from them. If they're the right dog with the right drive, it's not easy to train that precisely, but the good dogs, once they've had a find, they relate it to, that's a similar thing, so they'll go and look there.
It's a really heavily scented area with spilt drinks, spilt beer, food. There's a lot here to distract, right? Yeah.
When they're working like this and not dragged by those smells, which are going to be quite strong, it's really nice to see at this level.
Yeah. So you're happy currently, obviously, you know, there is a lot of spilt, I can feel the floor's pretty sticky.
On the floor, isn't it?
So there's a lot of scent to distract.
What Rich always says is there's the scent is letting off a bonfire, and he's zoning in on that bonfire, getting as close as he can to like the main flame, the main source.
Right.
He's like playing the hot and cold games.
Okay.
And what we do is we let them work themselves until, if they then don't find it, we then pick a point in the room like here, and we'll start tasking.
Oh.
And we'll then move round. Yeah.
Has he got it?
Yeah.
He has.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah, and it is. It's almost like they're pointing with their nose.
And what's this you found in here?
So I found it. You can see the dog just wanted to stay in that area. So, no, that is pure heroin. So we don't use drugs that have been seized, because we don't know what it might have been added to it.
So that's 2 grams of heroin.
And is that a small amount in heroin?
That's quite a lot for heroin.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So we do use smaller amounts. What we sometimes find is they actually struggle when we put bigger amounts out. It's almost like an overwhelming smell that they think, oh, well, why do you need me to find that? They go and get. So, yeah, it's a fairly standard hide that we put out for them. But, yeah, quite often heroin you get smaller amounts.
Being licensed, the dog or you?
We're both being licensed together as a team.
Okay.
So you only license with, like I was saying earlier, like one dog at a time. I can't license with multiple dogs, so we're like a team basically.
And so now you've done 3 searches, 3 different items. Is that it? Is that the end of the? Or okay, all right.
There's probably more, but
okay.
we're doing well.
Right.
So what we try and do is try and get every substance. They're trained to find heroin, cocaine, amphetamine, MDMA, ketamine, methadone, cannabis, cash, and then firearms as well. And they need to search indoors, so an indoor search, an outdoor search, and also search a vehicle.
I had a dog called Rollo before.
Rollo.
So when Rob retired, the decision was made for me to take on Milo to replace Rollo. Milo's only just under 3, and he's really good and shows a lot of promise and got a long career ahead. So that was the decision for me to swap dogs.
And can I ask, Rollo?
Rollo's been rehomed.
Okay, good. Okay.
He was a drugs dog for a couple of years.
Okay.
He got a little bit distracted by food.
Right.
Found, unfortunately. And I guess like anything, we want to go out there and do the best and try and find as much stuff as possible. And when there's an option of which dog to take for that, you're gonna take the one which shows the most promise.
Yeah, exactly. And now that Rollo is a retired police dog, he's served his time.
Yep.
So, I mean, charities like the NFRSA will be able to step in.
That's right.
Should he need it?
Yeah, should he need any help?
God willing, he won't. But that's quite reassuring, right?
Yeah,
for you
it's
to
really
know
good.
that there's that, it's excellent.
Should a big vet bill come his way,
which they do.
Unfortunately, he'll be supported, and it's comforting to know with the cost of pet ownership these days, isn't it?
So, exactly. Oh, well done. Thank you. Oh, I'm pleased. What does it feel like to be back?
It's good. I've went to one match since I retired. I think that was Mark Atkinson's testimonial match. So it's nice being around. I try and watch you guys on telly when I can, but I've got a young family, so that's often not possible.
And how long are you here for?
3 years, 2 and a bit years, with a little hiatus with COVID, which was interesting, and then coming back with the empty stands was strange, considering the Kingsholm crowd is right up there with the best crowds out there.
And Rich, you come here. Are you a fan of Gloucester Rugby as well, or are you here in a purely professional capacity?
Professional, but I also come and watch as well when I can. But we started to. We came here prior to the Olympics in London, so 2012, because obviously the drugs dogs, the Explo dogs were going to be used a lot searching stands, large stands at the Olympics. So Gloucester were really kind to us. They said we could come here and train. So we did a lot of training along stands, which was good because one of my first duties when I got to London was to search Wembley Stadium, Lords, Wimbledon, places like that. So it was invaluable training, really. It's regular training throughout the year, especially for the search dogs.
But not specifically for the games?
No. If there was like a royal visit or something like that, then maybe the Explo dogs would come in and clear the areas prior. But generally on a match day.
Lady Bathurst, if she's coming?
Maybe the drugs dogs.
That's getting cut.
We were saying before how we're lucky with Gloucester and Gloucestershire and the sort of the charities that we've got in the area, you know, that support retired service dogs when these dogs have kind of, you know, moved on into their retirement. We're pretty lucky, aren't we, with what we've got in the area?
I thought we are, because there's WAGs, which are the local charity who look after Gloucestershire, Avon and Somerset and Wiltshire. And you know, and I think it's really important that we work with our colleagues. I mean, I never think this is a competition. I always say, don't care who helps the dogs as long as somebody does. So I think it's really important that we work with the local police dog charities and sort of support them. And funny enough, we're just about to work hand in hand with Tired Paws Foundation, which is the prison charity, and they've got a dog who's got to have some very expensive treatment. And I got a call last week and they said, would you go halves with us? And I said, of course. You know, we don't mind. That's exactly what we were working hard for. It's what you guys are ambassadors for. And you know, you look at Frost this morning and, you know, not quite taking a chunk out of you, but doing his job. You know, when he comes to the end of his life, he's going to need looking after, and that's what we're here for, and that's what you guys represent. We've very sadly, literally the last 4 days, we've lost 3 members of the NFRSA family. They've all passed away, and you know, you talk to the handlers. I always call when we hear news that a dog has passed away. I always call, and it's just so heartbreaking. You know, I was talking to Gail in Scotland who had Corrie, and we've helped her a couple of times. She had near hematoma and a suspected stomach torsion, so we helped her twice, and she's just absolutely in bits because it's not just her dog. It's her working partner. You know, she's literally spent 24/7, 365 days a year with this dog, and all of a sudden Corrie's gone. And there's a massive gap, you know, massive gap.
You've given out record amount of grants this year.
Yeah.
So
well, actually, yes, I know we've it's actually quite an exciting week for us because we've just our 400th member has just joined us, so we've now got
huge.
400 retired service animals. So RPD Arlo from Lincolnshire Police, and I'm glad it's Links Police actually because we've got really close bond with them because last year they very kindly did a charity calendar for us. Hint, hint, can you do it again? So
if anyone else wants to do a charity calendar, if anyone else wants to do a charity calendar,
no, exactly. Yeah, no, everybody ought to be doing charity calendars. And so Arlo's he's our 400th registered member. And we've now given over £120,000 away in grants, and it's amazing. But, you know, we all work hard, you know, the whole team, the management committee, you guys representing us, it's all a team effort, you know. But I am passionate about it, yeah. I think these dogs are awesome, the horses are awesome.
And you've got 3 dogs, right?
Yeah, 3 dogs.
3 big dogs.
Two German Shepherds and a Husky. We had a Rottweiler that sadly passed away last year.
Oh, yes, I remember
but
that.
That's,
really sad.
We got another German Shepherd to... Well, I didn't know about it. My wife came back with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I was like, we explained we were keeping 2 dogs, and then all of a sudden another one appeared, and I thought, well, that's staying, is it? And yeah, so now there's 2 of them, and the husky's still going, so it's good.
Yeah. You see, the thing is though, with being a dog handler, I mean, their passion is evident, but it really is a 24/7 job. You know, they don't just hand their dogs in at the end of the day and say, right, I'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's they are with them all the time. It's a real commitment being a dog handler. You know, it's not just a job; it really is a vocation. And they are amazing. I admire them all.
Yeah.
Good boy, Milo. Are you happy, James?
Yes, very happy.
Right.
Very happy.
So hopefully the dog's going to search and find it, and then we'll get Joe to go and retrieve the cash, just so we can prove that it's actually there. It's actually there, and it is real cash. People say, you know, what do you actually search for? It is the cash. We get it from the Bank of England. They cut it in half, and they keep half. They give us the other half, so we can't stick it back together and go and spend it. And it's the ink and the paper that the dogs are searching for.
Right.
There you go.
Thank you. And we're off. He's going. But we don't know that it's cash he's looking for, right?
No.
It's still just he's now just reacting to his training.
Yeah, so the dog is literally now searching and is searching for any of the substances that he's trained to find. So that could be drugs, it could be a firearm, it could be cash. So we never know when we actually go and do a live search what they're finding. All we know is that if the dog indicates, then it's going to be, they're indicating on a substance that they're trained to find.
So the dogs are just really interested, and they might be quite close, but actually, you know, it's slightly in the wrong area.
See that little knock there? So the dog suddenly spun round really quick.
There we go.
See that?
We're on. We're up.
Yeah! Yeah, so behind that whiteboard should be £20 notes. There we go. He hasn't run off. He hasn't seen the field and thought, I'm going to go and run down there. It's when we set them up to search and we give them that trigger, and his trigger is that little tap on the belly and find it. He suddenly goes into search mode and he's just searching until he finds something.
Sometimes if a search goes on and the dogs do this burn of a certain area, you'll then have to task the dog, you know, get in, pull things out, just in case they haven't missed anything on that initial run through. So it's making my life quite easy at the moment. Milo, hop, hop.
The reason we came today was to witness the licensing of a new dog handler partnership, which I think we've seen take place and we took part of, which I think the dog has passed, which is
Milo,
great news.
5 out of 5.
Lunatic spaniel.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe the stadium is now free of cocaine, heroin, guns, and illegal
and cash.
And cash. So
There's no cash, unfortunately.
No, we were going to ask them to leave the cash behind.
Well, it's
Just
good
stick
to
it in the
know.
Tell
charity
the young
kitty,
lads
but
there's no point looking.
You can move forward knowing that you've got a clean stadium. Thanks to
train safely.
Thanks
to
to these guys. Yes, exactly. But thank you for finding the time to come and chat with us.
what you could do is you could have it as a training incentive with the cherry and whites, and you could just say,
I think we just let Frost off and put everyone in a bike suit and see who he goes for.
That'll be an
we
interesting.
know who's on them. Yeah.
It's like Hunger Games.
Yeah, start him off on the try line and see who can make it. Just every time he picks one off, that's it. See who the winner is.
You get dropped.
A whole new sport.
Yeah.
that'd be a whole new way of training.
Vision department might be a little bit worried, but
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.